Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving down into the charts to take a look at the technical analysis for XRP. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all this said, done and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and get right on into this one and see what's going on here with XRP. Okay, we've had a bit of a breakout. And this was actually the opposite of what I was expecting to happen yesterday. There was this burst of volume just here, and I do think there's a couple of things I'm concerned with, but I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, good volume came in. We saw this push right up here, and ultimately, we're actually expecting this to be the C wave low, and that's an overextension, right? So we can go ahead and grab hold of this, and we can put our C wave up here. Now, what I am going to do is basically actually take this off and actually reanalyze this a little bit. Essentially, what we'll look for here is this being our fifth wave low, and we actually now have an impulsive move, as I just said. So we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and we should be looking for a push to the upside right now. Obviously, this is, if I grab that to there, just pop that on there, there we go. And the minimum threshold for this fifth wave would take us towards 87.7. Okay, so fantastic area. Now, obviously, in yesterday's video, I was expecting us to come down into this void that was left behind. Okay, this is an area that we've been talking about for a little while. Let me just pop that back, down here. And then obviously, you know, inside this area, I thought is the area that we are likely to retrace to, and an area that I thought we would actually spend a bit of time just in accumulation. Obviously, that hasn't happened, and I think this is actually an interesting kind of point because that is a key area that we do potentially need to go down to, so we need to be a little bit cautious on what happens next here. So as we get into this, we obviously have our target here of 87.7. What would have to happen to invalidate that? I think this is a really important question. So if we were to, you know, not go up, how low could this fourth wave go before it actually invalidates that fifth wave altogether? Fortunately, that's actually quite low. It's all the way down here at 77.8. So we'd actually have to come down a lot lower. Let me just check to see if that's exactly about right. It's on this wick over here. So I'll pop it here. It's actually 77.7 by the looks of it. So right in there. So we'd have to cross wave 1 to invalidate that. So obviously this pullback here is actually quite steep. We'll obviously start to see a bit of a push to the upside, and we are looking for another kind of pullback here. Now, for XRP, what we actually hope for is that this stochastic RSI that is currently overbought gets wiped out very fast, and doesn't do too much damage to the price. Okay, so ideally we want to kind of stay within this bound that we've currently had, and we could look at this as a fourth wave zigzag, right, or of some kind. So if we actually grab hold of our fourth wave and just move it over here for a second, what we could be looking at here is we've got an ABC down, we have an ABC up. If we have an ABC down coming down to create a double bottom, that could actually be a zigzag pattern that could play out quite nicely for XRP, to a point where we actually start to see another surge to the upside, taking this fifth wave out towards that 87.7 cent range. From there, though, you would expect to see, you know, a slightly larger ABC correction. Okay, so although good kind of pushing to the upside, if that does come in, that's going to be a good target. And then we pull back down. Now, most projects right now are overbought, so do expect some volatility. And obviously, we still need to see corrections. And I'll go through the larger timeframes in a moment. So, you know, I still think that this is an area that we are likely to come down to just because we've left that empty space behind. And if the market does actually have a pretty steep correction, let's say Monday after the Fed kind of review, you know, what's going on with interest rates over in the US, for example, the market will kind of be negatively affected by that. So we'll watch out to see how that kind of plays out, you know, assuming negative news or whatnot. But this is the area that I am kind of thinking is the kind of the lower bound. There's no guarantee that we come down here, but it is an interesting zone. And I think I'm going to go through the larger time frames to, you know, to see whether or not we are going up. And I think we're probably more than likely, I think it's highly probable that we're going to come up to 87.7. And I think it's highly probable that we come back down here into this low range of about 80 cent before we actually go up into that fifth range. Okay, so I do expect us to see an ABC down over the next few hours, and then we push up into that fifth wave. Obviously, I'm recording this at 1:30 UTC, but it'll go live on YouTube at 1500 UTC. So don't even know, we might actually be down here by the time it goes live. I don't know. But this is kind of what I expect to happen afterwards. As we come up into our 4-hourly, we're also overbought. Okay, so this is actually spurring on a deeper correction. So let's be very, very mindful that being overbought like this, like we were previously when we were way up here, it's important that we know what happened in order to get us to this oversold area was quite a severe pullback. And that's the kind of severe pullback that would take us down into this range down here. Okay, but hopefully we'll actually go up into completing that 5th wave before we actually head into this range. Okay, and again, just to highlight, the other thing that's going on here is we actually did, I think it's a 618 retracement or a bounce. Let me just check on this larger time frame. So basically running all the way from the top here, all the way down to the bottom over here, and where have we actually retraced up to? It's the 618. So for anyone who likes their synergies in terms of what is going on with Elliott wave and obviously the Fibonacci retracement zones, effectively we've done a 618 rebounce or retracement to the upside. This actually could then spur us on to a deeper correction slightly longer term. So let's be a little bit mindful over the bigger macro picture, and of course be very aware of what is also going on the smaller timeframes. So again, this is actually something that we want to see a small correction, then we want to go up into that kind of 87 cent, and then we want to see the crash come down. If we do go up to the 87 cent range, guys, that is a 786 retracement of this entire move. And again, we obviously have the target kind of set down there. So the 4-hourly chart is very much aligned to what is going on with our hourly. Do expect some kind of pullback, and a significant one at that. Now the 8-hourly chart is actually moving up, so this actually supports our move towards our 87 cent on the shorter time frame. Okay, so as we think about this, we are looking to move up. It's also very possible though that this comes crashing back down in line with the 4-hourly and the hourly, so we have to be very mindful over these things. And the volume here, I will just note, is also decreasing. Okay, so we've had to push up, we've started to decrease the volume as we've pulled back. That's actually quite a good sign. But ultimately what we're looking for is an increase in volume, an increase on this 8-hour stochastic RSI, take us up to the 87 cent zone, and then crash this down and spike up the volume to take us into the nice healthy correction. And again, it should be lower than where we were previously. Okay, so we're looking for a nice A, B, and C move, taking us into this range down here. And this, by the way, guys, if you didn't follow the previous couple of videos, it's 69 to 71 cent. Okay, so that's the kind of range that we're looking for there. So as we come up into our daily, we need to see the correction. This is actually supporting that bigger move to the downside. We've started to see this correction now, and as we actually started to push up over the last 2 days, the volumes have continued to decrease. So again, good volume taking us up into this higher range of 91 cent, and then the volume started to decrease. It's still decreasing as we specifically push up into the B wave. So A down, B up, C down. So again, that's very much aligned to the picture of what we're talking about here. But when we actually start thinking about long term, obviously we take a look at what's going on here. We actually have a weekly stochastic RSI that's got a lot of traction to go. It's got quite a way to kind of increase. So there's a short term kind of pullback here, and then there's a long term price appreciation to be had. So XRP, in my opinion, is going to do incredibly well. Obviously, if we jump back down into our hourly, we can talk a little bit around, what's going on with the lawsuit. I think ultimately that's going to end pretty positively. I think what I mean by this is I don't mean necessarily that Ripple are going to win, or the SEC are just going to settle or anything like that. What I really mean is it doesn't matter whether Ripple win, the SEC decide to win, or to say decide to win, but win, or there's a settlement between the two parties, right? None of that stuff really fundamentally matters, because what you actually find is once a decision is made, once a classification of XRP has been made, the price is going to absolutely rocket to the upside, right? The main issue is that there is no clarity over what is going on with XRP. So we've seen this with time and time again with lots of different projects. Basically, they get sued by the SEC. The SEC class it as a security, and the price pumps up massively thereafter. And I think the same thing is going to happen with XRP. So it doesn't matter if you class it as a security, or if the SEC decide that it's actually a currency. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Ripple win, lose, draw, settle, doesn't matter. I do think, though, we do need to see one very important thing, and that is the case dismissed, closed, finalized, done, put to bed. Once it's put to bed, you're going to see some serious traction with this one, and I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO around it. Okay, so I do expect significant gains afterwards. Obviously, the delay tactics are very frustrating, and you do expect this time and time again. It's basically a tactic to kind of bully your opponent. Obviously, I don't think it's going to work so much with Ripple, because Ripple obviously have quite a significant amount of cash. So do bear that in mind. I do think that all this kind of stuff that we're talking about on the shorter time frames, it's all great, it's all fantastic, but it's highly volatile. We haven't seen enough kind of traction with XRP since the lawsuit. It's definitely not performed in comparison to many other assets in the space, and that is solely down to the SEC and this lawsuit. So once it's out of the way, I do expect a lot of built up demand for XRP to really come in nice and hard. There'll be a lot of crazy kind of FOMO around just the fact that it's got a classification, whether that is security or not, currency or not, it doesn't matter. Guys, but I'm going to leave the video there, and hopefully you have found this useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With that said, done and out of the way, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.